Hi, this is James Gordon of October here for book review. Today's book I'm reviewing today, Richard Laymon's Flesh. Alright, this was first published in Great Britain by W. H. Allen in 1987, then published by Star in 1988. This edition is from Headlight Feature, a reprint, and this is from 1990. Despite this gorgeous cover artwork, which actually the hardcover edition has a way better cover. This one's good, but the hardcover has a better cover. Despite this gorgeous cover artwork, this book was a huge letdown. I was really disappointed with this book. I was going to this thinking this would be a good early work of Richard Laymon, but it was just disappointing. It did have some good moments, but I was not impressed with this novel, and I'm kind of baffled how this thing won the Brian Stoker Award. I really don't understand how this thing won an award, which I'll explain later on in my review why I didn't like this book and why I really feel this book didn't deserve to win an award. It just was not good at all. A lot of other problems I had with it. Alright, on to the review, and spoiler alert, as I will be giving away crucial details within the story. Plot. A van tries to kill a biker on the open road outside the small town of Clinton at Webley Creek. Selena is badly hurt but survives, landing in a ditch. The driver is killed when his van hits the concrete wall bridge at high speed, then is burned to death. On the scene is Jake and Chuck, both police officers, after Selena flagged down a passing car and called for help. Jake questions Celine about what happened as she states the driver tried to kill her. However, further investigation reveals that there was another person in the van as the back door is found open, but no signs of blood or footprints, believing there could be a killer loose. While exploring the open land, he suddenly spots a station wagon driving on the dirt road. Jake forces the driver to stop his car and orders the man out. The man complies and gives his ID, revealing to be Ron, an older couple that's in the middle of finishing up their restaurant. Jake has Ron take him to the restaurant as Jake explains to Peggy that a killer might be nearby and wants them to lock up and report if they notice anyone wandering around the area that might be injured. Jake later returns while Chuck believes he's wasting his time. Driving his Mustang, Jake sneaks over to Ron and Peggy's restaurant, believing something was off with Ron's story about returning home to get ice. However, Jake doesn't find anyone hiding out at the restaurant and believes Ron was telling the truth. However, just as he leaves, he suddenly hears a gunshot. Returning to the restaurant, he finds Peggy shot in the head with her brains splattered over the wall as Ron is holding his dead wife's body. At first, Jake believes the killer has shot her, but notices that Ron is eating his wife with pieces of flesh in his teeth. Ron reaches for his shotgun, but Jake unloads his .38 revolver, pumping all 6 rounds into Ron. The next day, Jake takes his daughter Kim out to spend some time together while trying to forget the gruesome scene of Ron eating his wife after killing her. His divorced wife Barbara is living with her boyfriend Harold. Despite being divorced, Barbara still flirts with Jake, which annoys him. Jake is hoping to hear soon about the autopsy report on Ron and Peggy. Meanwhile, Roland, the town weirdo who is into strange stuff along the macabre, is talking with Diana about the murder that happened at the restaurant. Diana doesn't like this guy and tries making him go away, but Roland won't stop asking to borrow her Polaroid camera to snap pictures of the crime scene. Diana thinks Roland won't last 10 minutes inside the restaurant, but Roland bets her that he can. Feeling bored, Diana agrees to the bet, and if Roland can last till dawn and get some money out of this. Diana drives Roland over to the restaurant during heavy rainfall as Roland enters through the front door, scared out of his mind but refuses to leave to ensure that he wins the bet. Roland bought a pair of handcuffs after making the bet, cuffing himself to a bar stool as he's about to fall asleep when suddenly he's attacked by a yellow, slimy flesh creature that bites into his leg, but rather than feeling pain, Roland feels pleasure and allows the creature to enter inside of his body. It's nearly 3 a.m. and Roland is still inside the restaurant. Feeling bored, Dinah sneaks in, strips out of her clothing, and covers herself in flour to fool Roland that she's a ghost to scare him for fun. However, when she finds Roland lying on his sleeping bag asleep and has handcuffed himself to a bar stool and has wet himself, waking him up then snapping pictures while teasing him, Roland begs her to get the key that he left on the counter. Diana gets it but slips into a ball of vodka and tosses it to him so he'll have to pour out the key. Just as Diana is returning to her car while giggling to herself, suddenly Roland appears and attacks her with a buck knife. He stabs and slashes at her, then knocking her to the pavement to crack open her skull and feasts on her brain. Roland dismembers her body, placing the body parts into a sleeping bag, then returns back to campus, changing his clothes. When his friend Jason returns to his room, he notices Diana's Volkswagen in the parking lot but hasn't seen her. Roland tells Jason what they did together but lies about what happened to Diana. Jason notices how Roland is acting strange but isn't sure if he's done something to Diana. During that day, Jake is forced to cut his time short with his daughter after getting a call back from the autopsy that they found something strange with Ron. After Jake drops off his daughter, he swings by the police station. Joining him in the autopsy is Police Chief Barney and Steve, the medical examiner. He points out a strange wound on Ron's leg, along with other injuries, stating that a creature of some kind has entered his body and gained control of him after attaching itself to Ron's brain, then exit out of his body from a large hole. Jake theorizes the creature first came from the guy in the van, then crawled its way out to the restaurant and took control of Ron. Steve brings out the dead burnt body, and sure enough, Jake's theory is true as they find an exit wound. However, Barney reveals another dead body was found this morning when a boy playing with his dog found something buried out in the field. When the boy dug up what he thought was buried treasure, the boy came running back home to report he found a dead body. The mutilated body of the woman has several bite marks, along with many of her organs have been eaten. Barney fears this same creature has taken over another host and will strike again. He leaves it up to Jake to investigate this bizarre case and, if possible, find who's been taken over by this creature and kill it, but wants him to keep quiet till they know what they are dealing with, since it might cause a panic in town. Celia goes on a date with Jason. After finishing their dinner, they drive out over to the restaurant where Celia wants to go inside and get it on with Jason. However, as she's getting ready, Jason lies that he has to use the bathroom. Inside is Roland, who agreed to use Celia as bait to try to catch the killer. However, Jason is having second thoughts and refuses to continue with Roland's plan. Just as he's about to leave, when Roland stabs Jason with his buck knife, then smashes his head open with a hammer while making a bloody mess in the bathroom. He then handcuffs himself to Celia and brutally kills her, but she is able to bite 3 of his fingers off. The creature inside of Roland Hunger grows by the minute as his body begins to change into a hideous, grotesque mess of fat, sores, and bumps. Roland begins stalking and murder more women, unable to control himself. However, Jake is hot on this trail. He knows he isn't up against 1 but 2 killers, as he can't allow the creature to claim another host once Roland is dead, but the creature won't be easy to kill. Flesh has an interesting idea with good pacing, story structure, and very detailed with some likable characters and a few good scenes of gore. However, I'm disappointed with it as it fails to take the interesting idea of an alien creature using people as its host to murder and feast on their raw flesh any further, along with the many other problems I had with it. Well, it gets off to a good start, but towards the middle end of Flesh is where it begins to drag on, along with a subplot of a college girl who's trying to decide to break off with her boyfriend or not, which doesn't play a role in the novel till the end, as I hated reading these scenes. There was parts that I felt were left unanswered and not well explained, such as a hint of Jake's daughter being abused by her mother, which I thought would have Jake going to his ex-wife's house to confront her, but this never happens. And towards the end of Flesh, Kim just disappears and suddenly reappears at the end of the novel like nothing happened at all. And scenes I felt were missing, like early on in the novel, Jake explains to his boss he destroyed eggs in the cellar of the restaurant he believed the alien creature laid, but there isn't a scene of Jake finding these eggs. The novel just skips to Jake after destroying them while covered in sweat. Jake isn't the sharpest tool in the shed while he knows what he's going up against in the novel, but makes a couple of mistakes, and during a part where he believes his daughter was kidnapped by Roland, he's staring at a young girl and doesn't bother to look on the road, crashing a squad car in the process. But by far the worst mistake is when he finds Roland's body inside of a car and burns it, believing he's killed the creature without even checking Roland's body first. My problem with Flesh was there was no backstory of where this alien creature came from, or not much else known about it. Only when it does, once it finds a host, it begins killing and eating people. I was hoping to have a scene where it shows what the alien creature is thinking, and maybe adding some men in black to try and cover up the whole event, along with more gruesome murders and carnage, but I got none of that. Another issue I had was a lack of locations. There isn't many places in Flesh, and the most featured one was the restaurant. I was annoyed having to read characters going back to the same place with most of the murders take place. I really wish Laymon had other places in this novel, as it felt limited where it could go. And the ending was a huge letdown. No big shocking ending nor twists or turns that could have made Flesh a decent novel. Reading Flesh was like a poor man's equivalent to the '87 horror crime science fiction film The Hidden, which I wouldn't be surprised if that's where Laymon got his idea from. If Laymon took out the subplot, added more scenes of what the alien creature is thinking along with a backstory, and added the Men in Black trying to cover up this horrible event along with more scenes of carnage, gore, and more alien kills, then Flesh could have been a lot better. Overall, I don't recommend Flesh as it's a disappointing horror novel that fails and misses so many moments of opportunity that could have made this a really fun and violent novel to read. How this novel won the Bram Stoker Award is beyond me, as I don't believe it should have won anything not good enough in my opinion to earn an award. And that is it for the review today, and as I said earlier, I really was disappointed by this book. I was expecting this book to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and it was just a huge letdown. Even before I read Flesh, I heard by many Richard Laymon fans this was one of their best books or favorites, and I'm kind of stumped why it's their favorites, because it's not that good of a book at all. Despite having two of the best brutal murder scenes, where in the beginning of the book, when Ron is taken over by the creature, he kills his wife with a shotgun, which had a very graphic image of her head blown up with the shotgun, and then probably my favorite is when the creature takes over Roland, when he murders Jason by stabbing him and then bashing his head in with a hammer. I thought that was my favorite moment of the book, but after that, there wasn't really that many more gruesome murders after that. It was I was expecting so much more from it, and I thought, oh come on, so many missed opportunities that this book could have went, and Laymon just dropped the ball to go anywhere further with it. And as I said, Flesh feels like a poor man's equivalent to The Hidden. It's basically, if anyone hasn't seen The Hidden, it's about a creature that takes over a human body and it goes out to commit crime, which is pretty much the same thing with Flesh, except the only difference is uh, with Hidden, it's just out to commit crime, and then when the body is badly damaged, it just goes to find another one, and it just repeats itself over again. Flesh is just basically is a creature that has to consume other flesh by humans to survive, and a nice simple backstory of where this creature came from would have been nice. I don't need a big layered, multi-detailed backstory for this alien creature. Just a short, simple backstory of where this thing came from, and that's all I'm asking. That's all I want. That would have made it a lot better. And I was hoping, I was thinking, I think the Men in Black are gonna appear and try to cover this whole event. And they'll later on in the book reveal that a alien ship crash landed nearby, and that's where the thing came from, or somewhere else. And the Men in Black have been tracking it from across the state until it reaches this town. But there's no scene of that. It's just he doesn't explain where this creature came from, and other problems I had with it, like the scene where it's hinted that Jake's daughter is being abused by her mother. I really thought there was going to be a scene where he goes to confront his ex-wife, but that doesn't happen in the book at all. And then, as I said, she just mysteriously disappears and then reappears at the end of the book like nothing happened. I was like, wait, am I missing something here? And another scene I felt was missing was when Jake finds these eggs in the cellar, and this is the after scene of him destroying them. I thought, where's the beginning scene? I feel like I'm missing a scene here, and that's the only time that it's mentioned that the creature laid eggs, and I thought there would be more scenes of this alien creature laying eggs to produce more offspring of so that way it can affect other people. That would have been better too, but again, Richard just drops the ball and doesn't take advantage of this. And I was like, come on, Richard, go somewhere with this book already. You got a good idea here. Go expand on that to make it to succeed my expectations. It fails to take so many opportunities when it could have, and it falls flat. And the ending, I kind of guess who the spoiler, the alien creature ends up leaving Roland when his body is badly damaged, and there's a part where this girl that's part of the subplot of her, she's deciding whether or not to break up with her boyfriend or not. It was just so boring. I was like, oh, I hate reading these scenes. And she's like, I don't know if I want to break up with my boyfriend or not because the first time we went out we had sex in the park and I kind of feel embarrassed about it. So this whole process of going back and forth of her wanting to break off with him or not was just really I couldn't stand reading these scenes. Oh, please get rid of these scenes. I want to get back to the main story here. And that subplot does not play a role to the end of the book where the girl that's staying at Jake's house to keep her safe, somehow her boyfriend finds where Jake's house number is, and it's not revealed to, like, you turn the page and it's like, oh, it's him. And she decides, okay, after I gave you a second chance and you blew it, I'll give you a third chance this time. And sure enough, he's got the creature inside of him. And where do they go? The restaurant. I thought, come on, you couldn't pick a different place. You had to pick the same goddamn building. How many times in this book? And another complaint I have with Flesh is, how many times does Richard Laymon have to use the name Barbara in his books? This is like the fifth time I read a book and there's a character with the name Barbara, and most of the female characters in the story wear blouses. I thought, oh my goodness, what is the most common thing to find in a Richard Laymon novel? Barbara and blouses. It's like, do you have to keep using that in your books? Like, can you please use different names and different articles of clothing instead of using the same thing over and over again? It's like, oh, it's just annoying to read these. But Flesh was just not a good book at all, and I was really bummed. I was really hoping this would be a good one, but it was not. And what else? Oh, and the other issue I had with Flesh was before Roland is taken over by the creature, he already has like bizarre interests and fetishes already before the thing takes over. And I thought this would have been. I thought what have made this better is that if Roland's just into horror movies, but is not into actually doing the things himself. But then when the creature takes over, it expands on his like fantasies, and it makes him actually do them and stuff. And I really wish it had scenes where we could have read what the creature is thinking, and maybe have like scenes where the creature's talking to its host as it takes control. That would have been really cool, but Richard didn't put that in his book either. So yeah, I don't read Flesh. It's not a really good book, and it's just really disappointing. Alright, that is it for this book review today. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I will be going back to the Doom books with Eternal Sky and then Endgame. I'm just going to read these books, just read it like, I'm going to try to actually read through them in one sitting just to be done with them, and then just that way I can get on to the Doom 3 novels and just go back to reading other books. So I'll be done with this series. And I am hoping that my series I got planned in October would be a lot better than this Doom series. So, alright, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group of the same name. Please post your review of fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.